Welcome to Business as a Magical Practice, where your business is the vehicle for your self-integration and soul evolution. My name is Sam Garcia, and I'm the founder of Dirty Alchemy Digital Marketing. And I'll be guiding you through how you can use your business as a spiritual practice and what magical businesses are doing to hit their goals and change the world. Together, we'll be relating the mystical to the world of business so that our work can unite spirit and matter, shadow and light, conscious and unconscious. Let's dive in. Hey everyone, we are doing something special this week, and that is to feature some of our top podcasts from the past. And especially since we have so many new listeners right now, and there have been over 100 episodes, and you might be feeling overwhelmed by the amount to go through. I just wanted to bring forward some of our top podcasts and feature them here and now. And whether you are new to the podcast and you're just going to be excited to see some of our, have me put front and center some of our highest listener favorite podcasts, some of my favorite topics, or if you've been listening for a while and maybe even listened to this episode before, just checking in as you hear it for a second time and notice what a different place you are in your business and your life and your body and how it lands differently. So I'm so excited to share this with you. Let's dive in. Happy September, everyone. It is my birthday month, and I'm absolutely one of those obnoxious people who celebrates for the entire month. And I am actually pretty proud to say that I've converted my husband from someone who begrudges holidays because of the sour taste of religion in his mouth to someone who celebrates it all with me. I just really love to celebrate. I love celebrating the passage of time, the passage of seasons. I love the rituals, the fact that we get to make our own rituals as a family. And especially moving from the 4-season environment of Michigan to a comparatively subtle season change in Hawaii, I don't get to rely on the novelty of season changes much anymore. Like the excitement for summer and then the longing for the autumn coziness when it's 100% humidity for the second month in a row in September, whatever month it is. And then the delight in the first snow of the winter, which switches into like being really pissed off when it's February and the sky is gray every day and the ground is brown sludge because it's too cold to snow anymore. Good old Michigan. But anyways, you're getting me in a wonderfully caffeinated state. I usually record these in the afternoon, but right now it's happening at 9 a.m. Post second cup of coffee. We'll see when the second cup kicks in. So we just hired a new woman onto our team, and she actually lives on Maui. So we get to meet up in person today, which is so fun. And I mean, there are so many benefits of running an online business, and the fact that we're growing and we have a client wait list during a global pandemic is a testimony to that, truly. But it's also nice to physically be around other humans beyond your spouse that's around 24/7. So I decided to hire someone specific to Maui this time around. So while we're still a remote digital agency / online business, I still get some in-person time. Because as business owners, we get to make our own rules, which is so fun. Okay, thanks for letting me ramble. So we have a really fun episode today. It's on distillation, and I'm not talking about making moonshine. But first, I've been having so much fun with this podcast lately, and it feels really good to see those positive reviews coming in from people who are having just as much as fun as I am. So if you are enjoying this podcast so far, if you're getting anything out of it, please rate and review us on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, wherever you're listening. It really helps the podcast, and it totally makes my day to hear from you. So today's episode is all about distillation. If hearing that immediately makes you think of chemistry and science, and you're not really into that right now, don't worry. This is all going to tie back into your magical online business, and it's really powerful stuff, I promise. So distillation is one of those words that has multiple meanings across different fields, but essentially every definition says the same thing. When you distill something, you're breaking it down until you have extracted the central meaning or the most important aspect of what it is. In chemistry, it means that you have essentially broken down a liquid through alternate heating and cooling to a point where it is completely refined, purified, and highly concentrated. And this is actually a central process in alchemy. Whether you're talking about literal metallic alchemy or you're talking about spiritual alchemy, alchemy of the self, the fundamental processes of alchemy are distillation and coagulation, purifying a substance, and then when it's in that highly concentrated and potent, refined state, joining it with another substance to create your desired end result. So, when we are talking about spiritual alchemy, we're talking about distilling ourselves, refining our own insights until we start tapping into the central essence of who we are as a person, as a soul. When we concentrate hard on the parts of ourselves we are trying to distill, maybe a certain belief we have that we want to change, the energy of that belief becomes volatile, and the powerful creative forces behind that energy are able to be released. Then you can coagulate that distilled energy into a new force to shape it how you want, creating deep spiritual change. But if you want to get there, you first have to go through that period of purification and refinement. If that all sounds a bit too scientific for you, think of it this way. You're probably already using distillation in your daily life. It's why distilled water is more expensive and typically sought after than tap water, because it's purified. All of the unwanted additives are taken out, so you know that what you're getting is the pure essence of water. Like the honeybee who transforms nectar into honey. When bees bring nectar from flowers back to their hives, the whole hive gathers around to fan their wings really quickly, a process that evaporates out the water. This actually distills the nectar to make it into its purest form, honey, the purest form of flower nectar. If you haven't seen a video on this before, it's really, really cool to watch. So we'll put a link in the show notes. Another good example is essential oils. They are extractions from a plant that are distilled. That's why they smell so strong and their effect is so potent. They've gone through that refinement process where anything extra is taken out. So you're left with only the most pure and potent parts of the plant. So, maybe you're wondering how this applies to your business. I see a lot of online business owners who are building online programs or online courses who are tempted to dump as much info as they can into their course or program. Maybe it's to overcome their own fear that their program isn't good enough or that they themselves aren't good enough. Maybe it's because they have residual money blocks they need to work on before they feel like they really deserve to be paid for their program. But whatever the reason, they keep giving more because they think it'll make the program better, more valuable. But more can actually be detrimental to an online program. And hear me out if that seems counterintuitive. More means more. That's it. As an online business, more content does not mean better content. More lessons are not better. More videos don't make your programs more valuable. More elements don't make them more effective. As the expert, the business owner, the teacher, the coach, it is your job to distill your brilliance into a minimum effective dose, or into the exact process to produce the results your clients and students want. And this need to keep adding more might actually be laziness. It might stem from an unwillingness to sit down and put your brain into high gear and think about what is truly effective. This may be a self-worth issue, like I mentioned before, that I'm not good enough message that makes you think you have to keep giving. And what ends up happening if you add too much is that your audience becomes lost in all of the different messages. They lose track of the goals they set for themselves at the beginning of the program in their scramble to do everything. Because if your program really is as incredible and transformative as you think it is, your audience doesn't need more to have it change their lives. They just need a super potent, refined version of your powerful teachings. If you just keep adding and adding and adding without distillation, without refinement, without separating the truly useful from the fluff, you're not being of service to your customers, clients, and audience. Worse, you're going to waste your students' time because they're going to end up spending a lot of time and energy figuring out what to focus on instead of having a clear path forward toward their desired end result. The whole reason they're in your program. Instead of focusing on your brilliant idea or teachings, they're going to feel confused and anxious that they aren't doing enough, which is definitely not what you want. So the key ingredient to a super successful program is to have your customers go through a massive transformation. Did you get that? The key ingredient to a super successful program is to have your customers go through a massive transformation. That is what your audience is paying for. Your audience isn't paying for the specific offerings in your program. They're paying for that transformation. So you don't need to give them half a dozen half-assed ways to get there. You just need to give them one really powerful way, and if it massively transforms their lives, then they're going to love you. If you want your online programs to be successful, it has to be about more than just what you create for it, what you add to it. Because you can add 100 new elements to your program, and that doesn't mean your customers will have a deeper transformation. It just means they will need to commit more time and energy to it. And for a lot of people, that means they'll just decide they aren't able to fully commit and they'll drop out and ask for a refund. So the most important thing to remember is that your clients want one thing, a life-changing transformation fast. So to make your impact as powerful as possible, you have to do what you can to help people get results ASAP. The better results they get, and the faster they get them, the more likely they'll be to continue on with you, to go deeper with you, to totally fall in love with you and your business, and to recommend your program to their friends. But if they're inundated with too much information and too many assignments to stick to, you're going to lose them. They won't recommend your program to other people. They won't share about it on social media. They won't give you testimonials. They won't become your cheerleaders. And a big barrier to all of this is them not finishing your program, them not going through it at all. If your customers are overwhelmed by the amount of material and they do not see the rhyme or reason and they do not get early results, then you are most likely going to lose them. Even if they stick with your program, they might not fully engage with your central teachings in a powerful, transformative way because they're too busy trying to get everything in. So get used to taking time to distill. Start by taking a time block that you usually reserve for brainstorming new content or creating new ideas in your program, and use that time instead to distill the brilliant idea you already have, the idea your program is based on. Think through it, meditate on it. Imagine your brilliant idea going through those chemical processes of purification and refinement. It might help to visualize your idea as a liquid whose essence is slowly dripping through a filtration system. As you're working to distill your ideas, ask yourself, is there any fluff you're keeping in your course or program because you're falling into the more is better trap? Is there anything that doesn't directly relate to that minimum effective dose that might be a distraction from what's really important? You can also practice training your brain to distill information. This means turning off all the inputs, television, music, even pausing this podcast for a moment while you think, and just sitting with an idea. Not thinking about all the things you can do and make with that idea, but sitting with the idea itself. Ask yourself, what's at the center of that idea? What's the essence of it? And what is the fastest and most effective way for other people to understand it? You can do this with anything. And actually, the more you start doing it for random things you see on a daily basis, maybe trying to distill down the essence of the last book you read or the last website you visited into one powerful sentence or one powerful process. When you do this regularly, the better you'll get at training your brain to distill your own ideas for your business. So your offerings can become as potent as possible, and your audience, students, clients, whoever, can see huge transformations fast. So I actually have an assignment for you as you're working through distilling your brilliance for your online program. Write down everything you give to your audience in your program, everything. Whether it's an article you wrote, a masterclass, a live Q&A, everything. Then under each column, write how that specific component of your program helps to create the massive transformation you want your audience to have in their lives. If you're struggling to come up with how something contributes to that transformation, or if you're noticing that some of your offerings are much more potent than others, cut the ones that aren't serving you anymore, that aren't serving your students anymore. And while you're at it, if you find yourself perpetually in this more is better trap, take some time to ask yourself, why? What blocks are getting in the way of you taking a step back and letting the brilliance of your idea shine through? Are you nervous, scared, feeling not good enough? Knowing what motivates you to keep creating instead of taking time to reflect and distill is going to continue helping you refine your ideas. I would love to hear what epiphanies or ideas come from this. If you realize anything about your brilliant ideas or something you should change in your program, let me know. Head on over to Instagram at The Dirty Alchemy. I so want to hear it.